All right, Matt, would you lead us off? We're going to have this on screen. This is a piece that we started last time. We didn't go far enough through. It's Saudi Arabia's Spring at Last. The Crown Prince has big plans for his society. I'm going to kind of, this is from November 23rd, 2017.
So last spring was the spring.
Yeah. Okay.
Boy, was that great.
Yeah, that was So I'm going to just throw the keys to you on this. And we'll work through this together, but maybe you could, just give us just read us a couple of graphs here and give us your thoughts. I don't think it's going to take us that long to get to the heart of the matter.
First of all, I think the anticipation with any Thomas Friedman column is what's the lead going to be, right? Because, with any Friedman column, there's always a promise that comes with the opening lead sentence, which is, I'm going to give you an image, and by the time you get to the end of the column, that image is going to be mangled so severely that you're not going to recognize it anymore. So that's where I start when I start reading a Friedman column. Is he going to give me an image?
Is he going to give me an image?
All right, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. There's always a dateline and with Friedman because he wants to tell you what exciting hotel he's staying in.
I was going to say because for me. That's the image.
It's like a Jason Bourne movie,
right? No, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
I was going to ask if I'm cheating, because to me, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, that's the image, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
He's in Riyadh.
I could do that. I could just say my apartment. But with him, it's always Riyadh or whatever.
Right.
Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Dash. I never thought I'd live long enough to write this sentence. The most significant reform process underway anywhere in the Middle East today is in Saudi Arabia. Yes, you read that right. Though I came here at the start of Saudi winter, I found the country going through its own Arab Spring, Saudi style.
That whole "yes, you read that right" gambit is something I feel like high school editors would be like, you could just take that out.
That did seem like something very early, even for those of us who don't write as well as we would like. That was definitely something that you could have gotten rid of pretty early in the game.
I totally disagree, because that's a classic Friedmanism. Friedman's whole literary style is, I'm the guy you met at the airport bar who's got his arm around you, telling you what's what. While you're waiting for your flight to Riyadh. And so there's always
liquored up for your flight to Iraq.
Yeah, exactly. So there always has to be this line in there let's you and me go down, the avenue of truth and discuss some things.
The
right?
fairway of truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
no, he's the epitome of fairway.
Oh my God, yeah, exactly.
His platonic form of fairway.
Yeah, and he's the mathematical perfect mean of that. Yeah, but also I love the so he's got the figure of speech in there it's winter but it's spring, right?
Right, of course.
That's pretty basic for him. It's not like an upside down zebra with no steering wheel.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry to interject. I just always remember.
Is that a real one?
That line, the line you wrote. It's not zebra. You have to say if that was, but that one that you wrote where you're like the concept for the book, "The World is Flat," is Friedman's hanging out with some Indian CEO, and the Indian CEO is just the world's getting flat, Tom. Yeah, whatever, get the fuck out. And then just throws off the most basic cursory Davos pamphlet, whatever about globalization, and then Friedman gets in the car, is just flat. The world's getting flat. Just works himself into a lather.
It was even dumber than that, because what the guy, it was Nindan Nilikani,
right,
the CEO of Emphasis, who told me, he said, Tom, the playing field's getting more leveled.
Wait, right. That's how the world is flat?
Yeah. So Friedman goes off and level and flat are two totally different concepts, right?
Yes.
Like one's qualitative, one is like right, and he goes off and he's like, leveled. He's saying the world is flat, and then so that's fucked. And then the other thing that was fucked about it was the whole metaphor was flatness means the world is more interconnected. Except the flat Earth is less interconnected than a round Earth. Right? Because you're... I mean, it's just awesome. Like like an ordinary bad writer...
I'm homeschooled, for Christ's sake, and I understand that.
Right? I mean, you have to... You have to work hard to come up with something like that. Anyway.
No, it's anti-genius. All right, yeah.
Right,
That's amazing. All
right. Unlike the other Arab Springs... all of which emerged bottom up and failed miserably, except in Tunisia. This one is led from the top down by the country's 32-year-old crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman. And, if it succeeds, it will not only change the character of Saudi Arabia, but the tone and tenor of Islam across the globe. Only a fool would predict its success, but only a fool would not root for it.
You know what I like about that line from Friedman is that that's his version of like dipset. Like he thinks he fucking nailed that.
It's like Salieri. Oh, thank you. Gracias, senor. Right? He's thanking God for the insight.
Can really turn a phrase.
Yeah. Right. Literally.
I mean, I feel bad.
Really?
I mean, I do a little bit.
Isn't he married to some billionaire?
He is. He's married to a shopping mall heiress.
Right. Oh my God, he's in addition to this, he's rich off of like fucking.
Have you seen his house?
I have seen the house in Bethesda.
Yeah,
I've seen an aerial shot of that.
You can see it from space.
And and he married into a family that got rich off of like dollar store outlets.
Right. Yeah. And
fuck
like
him. Don't feel bad for him.
Murdering rainforest in Hawaii to make strip malls and that kind of thing.
Right. Also, he could harass like the guy. Oh my God, this is the house.
Look at that. That's great.
That is beautiful.
Looks like Kid Rock's house.
That wing on the left is entirely for his mustache up here. That's pretty cool. I mean, look, would any of us be lying if we? I mean,
I will write.
I'm jealous.
I will write those columns for that house if that's what you're asking.
Right? Yeah,
absolutely.
I would write.
Yeah.
What a strange existence that would be.
That is true.
Did Alex ever tell you about what we did at Racket?
Maybe.
So we actually hired an Indian factory to create Thomas Friedman columns for us. This was Alex's idea. We sent them samples and told them like we would give them themes. And basically the whole idea is like we were going to prove all of his globalization theories true by showing that we could create 1,000 Friedman columns a day for like a fraction of the price. I was really skeptical, but Alex ended up coming up with all these they were pretty good.
I bet it worked.
Yeah, like people who were writing that stuff, they really put a lot of work into it.
Or not.
It turns out that's what Friedman's been doing.
If in addition to everything else, Thomas Friedman has been 4-hour work weeking it, he deserves all of our completely unmitigated respect. Okay? He's like, first, I hustled my way into a Times column, which apparently has no editorial oversight.
Right.
Then I married a billionaire heiress, and then I outsourced my column to India. Then we would all have to just sit back in complete and utter respect.
What was his Pulitzer for?
He's got 3 of them, hasn't he?
Oh,
I don't know.
This might be an old website.
The thing that I've heard, didn't he write like a book in the 80s that was supposedly like a serious book about the Middle East or something?
Yeah, when he was a reporter in the Middle East. But I think he's won for commentary, right?
I'm sure he's won for commentary.
So he did win one in '83 for international reporting from Lebanon, and '88 for international reporting from Israel, and he won one in 2002 for commentary.
Right. That was when he was at the height of his powers.
That was when
What
he
a
said we
year
need
to-
to invade Iraq to send them a suck on this message.
Suck on this.
That's what the Pulitzer was for.
Yeah,
to
that was
suck
the
on this.
Pulitzer. It was like, oh, it's a combination of worldliness and tough-mindedness.
That was when
parallel in the.
We have to find that column where he talked about how you have to, sometimes when you're driving a car, you just have to throw the steering wheel out the window. That was his metaphor for Iraq. I forget exactly where he went.
What the fuck?
Did you find it? Chicken a la Iraq, right?
Okay, you know what? Then we might have to
Yes,
go back
I
in
love
time
this
here.
column.
All right, you know what? Bang through this.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to start from the Matt?
Yeah,
to successfully in dealing with Iraq. To be successful in dealing with Iraq, President Bush has to tread the most unusual line can imagine for a statesman. He has to be wild, but not crazy. How so? Well, it all goes back to a well-known concept in strategic theory. How to win a game of chicken between two drivers barreling head on to one another. If you're one of the drivers, the best way to win is before the race even starts, to take out a screwdriver and very visibly unscrew your steering wheel and throw it out the window.
Where did he learn this?
The message, you don't know what's called chicken. The message the other
high school
driver
high.
is, hey, I'd love to chicken out and get out of your way, but I just threw my steering wheel away. So unless you want to crash head on, you better get out of my way.
That's a
Or
brilliant strategy.
Or could you just like not really move and then the other guy could hit you whatever way he wants? We are witnessing. Actually, this really caps it off. Just and then I'll go to you. But I love. Okay, just bear in mind what you just read. You're right. We are witnessing a similar situation between President Bush and Saddam Hussein. No, you're not. I think we can all safely say, no, you're not.
Yeah, so wait, does he go on? Does he go somewhere with that metaphor? Because if I remember correctly,
Mr. Bush has to appear wild, even as if he had thrown out America's steering wheel and was ready to invade Iraq tomorrow alone. It was a very smart tactic, and if it produces a serious united international front, it may yet pressure Saddam into chickening out and allowing unconditional inspections. This still goes on another paragraph?
right?
He's still doing this?
Yeah, like it goes on and on and on. It's amazing. Let's see. Wait. Go down to the bottom. I want to see what happens at the bottom.
Okay, yeah. We'll get right to the payoff.
Let's see.
Okay, you want to read?
Yeah,
the
it's
honors
okay
here?
to throw out your steering wheel as long as you remember you're driving without one. It's okay to be wild to spur our allies to join us. But if they won't, we must not go from wild to crazy and invade Iraq alone, because the folks in the Middle East do crazy so much better than we do.
That's an awesome button.
Like, okay, first of all, the metaphor makes no sense. You can't, it's not okay to drive a car.
Even if you acknowledge that I don't have a steering wheel.
right.
I would just like to say, before I do this, that I don't have a steering wheel. All right, let's get on the road.
We're good now.
We're good. It's been acknowledged. Now let's take this for a spin.
So that's wrong. And then he's basically saying, in the next sentence, actually, we do need a steering wheel in case our allies don't join us. And then in the last sentence, he's saying the other guys are better at not having a steering wheel than we are.
Yeah, because Arabs are crazy. I like that. So it's like, let's just end this fucking nonsense. Just a little note of racism.
I mean, I feel like I've had my fill of strategy for the night.
I mean,
I'm going to renegotiate. I'm going to read this before I negotiate another contract with Sam.
It's fantastic. That whole period with him was like, every single column that he wrote was like that. It had some like crazy image, like, you know, America is just like a pagoda. You know,
America's like a pagoda. What? So he's kind of, so now this column we got is basically just like it's disgusting because it's shilling for the Saudi monarchy, but we don't have the same kind of like MBS is like a Lotus Pro, from
Right.
which I type this column.
right?
That type of thing.
Yeah, no, he's toned down some of his literary instincts.
Do you think you'd share some of the blame for that, Matt? You think you mocked the guy?
It's
so
not just
much?
me. I mean, there's a whole like cottage industry of Friedmania. I mean, like, there's
But
somebody
let's
who
be-
actually built a Friedman simulator online. Have you seen that thing?
Of course I have. Yeah, I don't know if it's still around, but it's still. I mean, but I remember there was a time like around, like in college, where people would still say like, "Did you read Friedman?" And I would just hit them back with one of your reviews. That's all. My only response to everything would just be like, "Why don't you read this review? The world's flat." These are my thoughts on Thomas Friedman.
The funny thing about that is that I actually didn't even notice.
Luxembourg and Zimbabwe. Luxembourg and Zimbabwe.
Crossing the aisle.
Well, that
Wait,
sounds
what's
right.
the lead?
An interesting thought concept
See?
occurred to me today. What if industrial giants sat down with ordinary people like you and me and ironed out some of the real solutions to our education
Right?
crisis? That's not even.
Wait, are these real?
Yeah, that's not a. Yeah, that
No,
has
these-
to be real.
No, that's not real. That's fake. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is that let's you and me sit down and iron
Right.
out some things, right? Yeah.
Except it should be industrial giants. Go big, Mr. Obama. What's this one? Imagine if grassroots activists sat down with ordinary people like you and me and ironed out some real solutions to our prescription drug crisis.
Wait, Matt, can you find the one? I think he wrote a thing called.
Wait, I'm sorry. Portugal, the next India, or the next Pakistan? Question mark.
I have to find out which one it's gonna be.
Right. That's
So there's one where it's an Iraq column and the metaphor is like a long bomb or a Hail Mary or something like that. But it goes from like being a football metaphor to something else. It's like another sport or something by the
He switches sports.
Yeah,
mid-metaphor.
exactly. It's like he changed horses midstream, you know that whole the long bomb. Here we go. This is a good one.
All right. All right. Let's do
What
this.
happens here? All right. Do you want to read it?
No, either way. You want?
Okay.
Yeah. Where are we starting?
Let's see. Let's find the football metaphor here.
Okay. Yeah. You could just do a word search for it.
I think it's just in the middle there where the long bomb. Wait.
I like this. I like the. I have a mixed marriage. My wife opposes this war. That was one thing I caught.
It's right after the word audacious. Mr. Bush's audacious something.
Mr. Bush's audacious shake of the dice appeals to me. He summed it up well in his speech last week. A liberated Iraq and shows power, freedom to transform that vital region by bringing hope,
Oh wait,
progress,
I'm sorry.
blah blah.
I screwed up. I'm sorry. He has been convinced by a tiny group of advisors that throwing quote the long bomb, attempting to transform the most dangerous Arab state,
Is a geopolitical game changer.
is a geopolitical game changer, and then it's blah 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 blah, and then it's dice he's throwing.
Oh, I
In the
see.
next, right? And then, like, are we throwing dice down the football field? Like,
We're throwing dice down the football
And are
field
the
in the
dice-
global economy.
is it Iraq? Are the dice Iraq or like? See, the thing about
I guess
this
like
is,
troops whose limbs are going to be blown off and he has no connection to whatsoever. It's just-
This stuff is all fantastic, though. I mean, it's like
Imagine if this column was being written in response, like during Vietnam, and like John Kerry's like, "How do you ask the last man to be the one to die for a mistake?" And it's like, well, it's true, but on the other hand, like Johnson's throwing.
he's got an audacious plan.
Yeah, he's got an audacious plan, and
He's
his
taking the
zone
steering
D
wheel out of the
might
car.
work, which is why I find his concept of like holding his hand appealing. It's just like
He's going to wind up
is a
and
full-
throw those dice as far as he can.
oh
The
my
funny
god.
thing about this stuff is that you could teach this not as political commentary, but like basically any English composition teacher would tell you that like if you have a if you have a metaphor in paragraph A, like in paragraph B, if like the metaphor in paragraph A is like a Atlas holding up the Earth, in paragraph B, he can't be like Father Christmas. You know what I mean? Like it has to continue being Atlas. Otherwise, somebody's holding the you know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
drawn to the Atlas and look forward to him coming down the chimney. However, but maybe he's like fucking Picasso, man.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe he's just like reinventing the rules.